as the current thing, right?
Oh, shit. Is that better?
Yep, you got it.
All right. Welcome everyone to another edition of the Coach's Corner for the video review. Wait a second for our coaches to get settled in here and our guests. I'd like to welcome everybody out there in Facebook land joining us. So get settled in. That's not what I'm looking for. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to video review with Sir Helga. I know she gets a little uncomfortable every time we include her name in the title of the episode, but she's absolutely one of the best analysts in the world, and we're happy to have her input on these. Always a good time. How are you doing, Your Grace?
Not too bad. Super excited to be doing video review with two amazing people from around the known world. And looking forward to having another evening just kind of geeking with you guys.
Yeah, we love the geekery. And as always, we have His Grace Thorfinn joining us from the West as well. So, yeah, happy to have everybody out there in the Facebook lands tuning in to see what we have. So a couple of caveats, disclaimers, ground rules a little bit about how we approach this and what we're looking for. So this is a video review, which is for us, we look at this from a point of ruthless self-assessment, where we're going to take these two fighters and we're going to look at the fights that they've provided for us and try to give them the best information that we can to send them forward in their training path. To find some solutions to some of the problems that they have. It is important to understand that we are coming to this from a perspective where we believe that we learn more from our failures than we do our successes. And so you're going to hear us talking a lot about what is wrong with their fight. That's just the way we approach it. We need to be very, very clear that our intention here is not to take a couple of unbelted fighters from around the world and just abuse them in front of a live studio audience. That is not our intent at all. We're genuinely interested in helping them become better fighters. It's just easier for us to fix things that are wrong rather than improve things that are already good. And that's kind of the approach that we take for this. Above all else, we want to thank both of these folks for allowing us to go over this, to provide this video and to put themselves out there. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there in front of the known world and have us tell you what's wrong with your fight. So really grateful for that. One of the reasons that we do this with unbelted fighters is because the problems that they have are generally going to apply to a lot of other unbelted fighters. And so hopefully somebody out there will be able to recognize maybe some of the problems they have in their own fight and be able to apply some of the solutions that we provide for that as well. So Helga, Thorfinn, did I cover all of that appropriately as far as you know?
I think you got it covered.
All righty. So let's see. We got a couple of guests joining us tonight. We have Lord Erland from Luckhawk, and we have Countess Gwen from North Shield. So Erland, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are in your fighting journey, and specifically what current goals you have as far as what you're currently working on in your fight?
Hey, I'm Lord Erlander from NS4 Lockhart. I'm Squire to Sir Wolfgang Caesar. I've been fighting for about 4 years properly. I'm working on not letting my opponent get too comfortable in the fight, changing my footwork to a more gunfighter style, and trying to work on more Branos-esque flick shots, and working on that inside line.
All right, sounds great. And Gwen, same thing, a little introduction.
Hi, I'm Countess Gwen. I'm out of North Shield. I've been an authorized fighter for about 10 years, but I've only been really kicking it up to serious for the past 5. I'm a 2-stick fighter, and it's my primary weapon form. Currently, the main thing I am working on is, I call it Nobody Touch Me. I have to make sure that I have gotten their sword out of the way before I throw shots, so that I'm not stepping through my shots or creating openings in my own game by getting in my way, since I don't have that shield to protect me. So it's mostly I need no sticks to land on me if all possible to get the cleanest fights. And sometimes those 2-stick fights are a little bit messy, and stopping myself from stepping through my shot as I'm going in.
Okay, great. Cool. All right. Let's see. We've got like I said, we got a playlist for each of you. Helga, Thorfinn, you got any preference on who we want to start with, or you guys got anything else you want to say before we get rolling?
Let's just roll right into it, man.
All right. Let's see. Let me get back to
Just flip a coin and choose.
All right. I mean, Your Excellency, Gwen. I mean, your call. You got seniority.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
You want to do yours, or
Yeah.
you want to do yours, or you want to dump poor Erland in there to begin with?
Nah, I'll go
All
under the
right.
bus.
All righty. Give me just a second here. All right, we seen that okay?
Yep.
All right. So Gwen is the fighter on the left in this one with the 2 swords. Can't tell if that hit. Looks like he cut some shield there. All right, we'll roll on the next one. Is that the same one?
Mm-hmm. It's also, this one's coming across real choppy.
It was flowing pretty well at the beginning, and now it's choppy. So,
all right, hang on a second. Let me see if I can just share a smaller portion of the screen.
So
this is the
I was
reason
asking,
why.
Gwen, you are right-handed, correct?
Yeah, I'm dominantly right-handed.
Okay,
All your power's coming out of your left hand, though.
absolutely. That's why I asked.
Yeah, the way you're set up, it's all.
No.
Yeah, those were the same fight.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
We'll do assessment in a minute, but I just wanted to ask because I was seeing something.
I do a lot of left-hand work. I fought left-hand sword and shield for about 6 months before I went to 2-stick. So yeah, I do a lot with that.
It's clear that you have good left-hand work.
I'm gonna try to share a smaller portion of the screen here and see how that goes. Is that any better?
Yes, that seems better. Yeah.
Much.
I like wherever this building is. What the hell is this place?
It looks like it's a horse arena.
God,
It's
amazing.
the stock pavilion on the campus. So we
cool.
can do archery, fencing, and rapier for all of our practices.
Yeah,
I wish
that's
we had
gorgeous.
anything like that here.
If I had $1 million,
I'd buy you a.
I'd buy you a stock pavilion.
Yeah. I'd buy you an art, maybe a Garfunkel.
So that was actually a touch. And it looks like you guys are discussing it there.
Do you want to back that up?
Yeah.
It's kind of at the end of that one.
Yeah, this is right about here.
It's buffering. There we go.
If anytime it has to rebuffer, we just need to make sure with your connection that you've got everything buffered. But
Ah.
hey, it is not one of our shows without it being there being some technical glitch about the video,
That's
right?
right.
It's actually my favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hell?
Okay, so quick questions, just kind of from what I'm seeing already. You're choosing the left leg forward as kind of for what reason? Is it better for your left side attack, or are you saying it's a better defensive stance? Okay.
I'm pretty sure I'm usually left foot forward, especially against right-handed sword and shield. Because I feel like it gives me a little bit of an advantage to get that range I want.
Yeah.
So I don't have to close, I guess.
I exactly. So I'm just trying to figure out why you're doing it. And there's a lot of reasons to do it, and I just wanted to hear what your reasoning was. So just checking in is all. That was really nice.
So I've slowed this down quite a bit. I went down to quarter speed on this because I kind of wanted to see this last bit.
Shield.
Yeah, it looked like that hit a lot of shield.
No, it was actually it was him striking her center mass. This is what I saw.
Is that what we're stopping? Yeah, okay. They're right there. So when did that he throws a center line shot there? Does that make it through to you hard enough, you thought?
I'm pretty sure that's a yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the shots that yeah, because I'm doing that thing I'm not supposed to do. I'm expecting that's a shot that I get hit with quite a bit in that opening when I'm trying to get the swords in motion and I open too much,
Right.
and he's gonna get down that side.
Yeah, because here it looks like that right hand blow looks like it hit shield pretty solid, and then it looks like he's coming right down it. He's
Yeah, he comes right down that
right in
center
the slot. Right. Yep. Yeah, right in the forehead.
Yep. Okay.
So you're saying this happens a lot then?
I would say it's fairly frequent. It's one of the things that I am working on and getting those swords to kind of come in and not tangle. This is also my husband, so we fight a lot. Working on things with him is a little tricky in that way that, you know, everyone knows what you're doing.
Right.
But that is a very frequent shot, I'd say, that left. Is that my left? Shoot. Left side,
Yes.
Helmet, and that shoulder nook.
Got it. Now, see, this part here looks really good to me. That right there, opening seemed really solid. Like you had covered your zones. You're a little heavy on the left foot, but that's okay. You can transition.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually like the balance positive stance you have on this, where your weight is on the balls of your feet. You're ready to move forward. I think your stance is pretty good to begin with. I mean, as far as
right here, it's really solid.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can say there.
And I think in general too, it feels like your footwork is deliberate and purposeful. It's not haphazard. It feels like your feet are leading. Sometimes you have a tendency to go back under your heels, but it does feel like your feet are leading rather than you trying to do something and your feet trying to catch up.
I'd say a little linear, like we're doing it forward and backward, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see more kind of lateral movement here, especially with these shots. You can also use your lateral movement to load your shots for you, right? As you come in with blocks like this, you could literally step through that and use that power that's still like locked up in there as you move through the zone. So less forward and back, more kind of either strafing runs or to the sides. I think would be side steps would be great.
I want to take a look at this though. The way you launch into this attack right here. So watch where your feet are at. Like I said, your stance is pretty good to start with, but when you decide to launch this attack, watch how much motion there is before anything actually gets moving. So the way your feet have to change and the way your balance has to change on your feet kind of tells me that you're not really in a position where you can simply strike. And the other side of this is you are, so it feels like you're starting out at like a C range on this. You haven't really established range, which means you're launching your attack and you're kind of pre-programming this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I will say I do typically start probably further out. My one thing that I fight against is I have absolutely zero depth perception in my vision. So it's also why you'll see me do those kind of tap out shots. A lot of that's me finding where my opponent is.
Okay.
But I like to stay pretty far away, which makes me know that I have to close. And that transition to closing gets scary in that sense of I don't always know who they are. So familiarity with my opponent makes that better, but I feel vulnerable when I have to make that close. So I try to do it fast.
So question, is it because you can't see it or because you don't wear glasses when you fight, or is it just you have a depth perception issue?
I used to wear contacts, but it's just a eye issue in general. My corneas are misshapen. I've never had depth perception.
Okay. Yeah, so that's gonna be really hard. So if you're starting out in like, I don't know what you want to call it. This is what Helga talked about earlier, saying that we have different language for everything. So zone one, let's just call one being the closest, and two being middle, and three being outside, right? You can call it ABC, whatever you want to do. But if you're throwing at the furthest range, right, they have a lot of time to adapt to what you're doing, right? Your opponent does. And so then you're also then following through into that. So it's really, you have to have a good kind of defense as you're transitioning into these closer ranges. You have to trust that you're going to be safe to do it. Okay, so that means maybe you figuring out whatever that stance needs to be, and we can talk about that more in depth, I think, with the three of us. But you can't only attack at 3 and then expect everything to happen at 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Sure.
Okay, did you have something?
Oh yeah. So I've got a couple things. Thanks for being honest about the depth perception thing. That helps some of the assessment. So I was kicked in the face by a horse at 14, and it shattered my eye orbit and wrecked my depth perception. And so we're actually going to talk tactics here. We're going to stop the breakdown for a moment with my feedback. You need to initiate a response from your opponent. This is how you're going to probe range and find range. Instead of being able to see and just have your brain calculate range, you're going to start forcing the understanding. This is by giving a threat. This is by exchanging your tools. This is by making a lateral motion out at the max, like where your brain starts to say, hey, there might be a little danger. You need to start messing with your opponents. I watched a bunch of your video, and you're not messing with your opponents at range. You are trying to break range and survive because of this lack of depth perception, instead of using it to your advantage. You're actually a highly aggressive fighter. There's a couple things that I would like to change about your footwork, but overall, I have a love-hate relationship with your footwork, much like mine, because you figured out that you must be in a stance at all times because you do not know completely where the shot is coming in. Like you have to kind of guess, like, I think I'm in this range, right? Okay. So at this point, when your little danger sensor goes off of like, I think I'm in range, you need to start like, take a lateral step out at that edge of range and start watching what they do. If they don't do anything, either take a step in and smoke them, or you're totally out of range. Step in a little bit and do the same thing and see where these people start to respond to you. Be a threat at the edge of measure, at that edge of where your brain starts to say there's a little bit of danger. That's where to start introducing a little bit more lateral footwork, because one of the things that you've got a strong suit on is you're a great height for fighting. You've got a really nice aggression here, but one of the things is you're trying to survive where your brain isn't sure if you're going to get hit or not. Mess with it. Don't give that up to them. Don't give them that free space. Take that back. Start messing with them. Give them the idea, like right now, you're in range in this video. He can flat snap you. You do that little pop to check your range, which is a good start. Take a lateral step and do that pop. Make him move for it. Make him adjust for any time you're checking range. It's going to unsettle your opponents to a level that will give you command of that fight and give you moments where you can step in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. That makes a lot of sense.
The other thing that I would like to see you start doing is he has one stick. One stick can only move to one target. And if you start closing the lanes, if you are throwing through an option that he has and blocking the other option he has, you have taken away all of his fight. You have two swords, and effectively you actually have a 36-inch shield that you're hanging onto by the bottom. And so one of the things that you can start doing is, when you're unsure, is close all optional lanes with your offense and defense. You have enough power in your stance that you can recover back to the next shot. So your primary shot is probably not going to be a kill shot, especially with this lack of depth perception. Your secondary shot is going to be where you're like, nope, I know that I'm in range. And now they have unloaded. They have unloaded into my other tool, which gives me this free shot. So use those lanes and start taking advantage of those lanes, because you have more blocking surface actually than he does. Because once he unloads, he no longer has an offensive option. You will always have an offensive option if you are stepping into power.
Yep. Yeah, that kind of goes along with what I was talking about with the pre-programming your fight a little bit. So when you're talking, so this next video I've got queued up here is a good example of a couple of things that are going on in relation to this. So you've got the thing with your depth perception, which again is a good thing for us as trainers to know. So rather than us just assuming that that's a problem, it's like, okay, let's find solutions to that. Let's find out how you can use that to your advantage, right? So what I'm seeing with as Thorfinn noted earlier, your left hand is your dominant hand in this fight. You may be right-handed, but the way you're fighting, the way you're presenting this, you're heavy left-handed, which is fine. But that's where your power is. That's where your mechanics are. And because you're really not using the mechanics with the right hand, probably because you're throwing into the shield at that point. So what I'm looking at is right now you're using that right hand to kind of feel where your opponent is, right? And it feels like you're just kind of putting a touch out there as kind of a gauge, but I think you could be using that to begin your attack. Like right now, you're just using it as a feeler, where I think you could put that out there and maybe even keep contact on the shield and use that to kind of maintain that distance. Does that make sense? Because the problem with how you're feeling that out right now is that there's no legitimate threat for your opponent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Right.
I think I've felt like there's always less options with my right hand against a right-handed sword and shield fighter. So that's one of the reasons the left has really been primary, is that my right feels a lot really cut off in that situation.
Sure. Yeah. And so what I'm looking at here, I'm going to go ahead and play this, and I got this in slow motion, I think. And I want you to kind of watch how you kind of tap with the right hand. But again, there's no viable threat with any of this. I mean, it's useful for you to figure out how far out they are. But if you can make this a threat as well, then to Helga's point, you're making that probe, you're making them respond to something. Because right now they don't have to respond to anything. You're just like, it's useful for you, but it's not, it doesn't manipulate your opponent in any way. Does that make sense? Let's go ahead and watch that real quick. I think we need to back that up to the beginning of it. Those right there. So these right here. So that's you gauging to figure out how far away it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mostly throw your right sword as kind of a fake. You know, it's just like you just put it out there.
Yeah. And
then you follow it in. At the way you're throwing it though, you can't generate any power, right? Because it's all in front of you already. So your right hand being so far in front of your body is stripping your ability to throw that with any kind of authority, right? And so your opponent here is probably not addressing it too hard, and then afterwards you start throwing it, right, as you come in. But originally it has to be perceived as a threat. If it's not a threat, I mean, then you might as well fight left-handed. You know what I mean, with a left-handed shield, because if you're not using that sword as a viable weapon, like right now, it's so far out you can't really throw a killing blow. It's more of a tap and then force them to do something. You could, that's actually, if you change your stance or something, I think that could become your predominant weapon.
Yeah, it could. And like Helga was saying, if you maybe take a step offline to your right side and then throw that shot out there, and if you throw a more legitimate shot at that target, you're going to find that range that you need. You're going to be able to gauge that, and at the same time, you're going to be presenting more of a threat. You give them more to react to, and then that is going to open up that left hand a little bit more.
Yeah.
Helga, did you have something on that? You got that?
So I've got a couple things. I was watching so I stalked you and watched a bunch of your video before this. And so there's 2 points here. Is one, I'm going to pile on the right arm thing. Once that right arm goes straight, it stays straight. Like we can see that multiple times. And so you're just like flicking it back out there. And the further your elbow gets out there, it right there. It just stayed. All you did was loop through the shoulder versus actually recovering your stick to generate any power. Also, it's not connected to your hip at all. There's no body generation at all here.
Hey man, recovery is my pet peeve.
Hey, well, I'm gonna ride your pet peeve. Okay? Just you get headspace today. I get recovery. Okay.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
And so I would really want to see you work on your recovery a little bit more with this. Also, in almost all your videos, I never saw you throw a leg shot. You're fighting from the waist up, trying to muddy the water. And what I would bet is you are trying to muddy the waters of their offense instead of threatening that inside thigh, instead of nuking him in the leg here. Because he is stepping away and giving you, had you been loaded, you could have done the small loop down into the leg with his offense. He was already unloaded. And so this speaks to fighting tall, which is something that I normally talk to short fighters about, is that they forget they can hit people in the leg.
I'm gonna interrupt really quick here. So at this site, we typically don't go down on knees. That's gravel. And just out of a practice habit, it's bad. We'll call leg shots, but we won't typically fight from our knees on it, because when you go to hit it, you're going to tear up all your gear.
Yep.
Bad habit, I understand. So we call them, we don't go to the knees, but I would say I'm really trying for that upper hip shot. I'd rather try to get a body kill out of than legging. And that probably is why, side effect, I don't feel like my game against them when they're legged is really great, because we don't practice it that much. But I would rather try to loop up and get a torso and get a kill out of it than leg an opponent.
Fair enough.
Hey, question. In your Kingdom Crown tournament, would you not take a leg shot, or would you have to take a leg shot?
If Crown was being held in this site.
Oh, we take the leg shot, yeah.
So my question is, you need to train to throw these shots. You can't only train for the site. You have to train for you to be able to win the fight.
Right.
And so not throwing leg shots because the site is gravel doesn't actually build solid muscle memory inside of your body where you're going to be able to take advantage of that when you're on the grass.
Right. I mean, we don't fight from the knees as much at the site. It shouldn't really prohibit throwing those shots. My personal preference is to go for the torso.
My point is it changes the entire dynamic of the fight.
Sure.
If I leg you, right, and then I can then change range and I have control of the whole tempo and everything in the fight. If you're training in a place or in a style that only allows you to do one thing, when it comes time to actually do the other, you're going to be stymied by the fact that you have to do it. And so I just tell you guys to get better pants, right? I mean, I fight on gravel or cement or whatever. If the idea is that I have to train my body to react to those, whatever we put forward in the fight.
But I think that's where she was saying. I think that's where she was saying that that's kind of a bad habit that is a product of the fighter practice site that they have. Yeah. So,
okay. Cool.
So, so I'm gonna get back to the recovery thing that Helga was talking about, especially as a two-sword fighter, because your offense is your defense. It is especially important that every shot you throw gets loaded properly or chambered properly, to use other martial arts terms. So as the one is going out, the other one needs to be getting back and getting properly chambered. So when we look at the recovery on this, so on the one hand, so you're in this set, once you kind of get your range there, you're going after the fight, which I really like. And it seems to me this is what I refer to as judicious pursuit, where you're going after the fight. You're not just being more aggressive. You're not just throwing more stuff out there hoping something's going to hit. You are pursuing the fight. You're going after it, right? And so in that sense, you're really going after this. But in each of these shots you throw, especially you're going to throw one right-handed one that gets kind of like halfway into recovery, and then you start it up again. This is a classic case where it would actually be faster for you to complete the recovery through your shoulder and then get the delivery, because when you get halfway into it and then you have to stop and then you have to generate again, and I think you can see, you'll be able to see this right here. I'll try to go a little more frame by frame here. You're going to kind of see you're losing a lot of the power. So you get that one, this one, and I think you'd come off of a good delivery on the right hand. So that left hand is coming back. You got good rotation coming off that. That's going to have plenty of power right there. But this one right here with the right hand, can you see that arc there really just doesn't have, you don't have the stick rotation you need. And maybe it's because it's coming off the offside, because you threw that offside with the right hand, right? So you come off of this, and then you're trying to get to the next shot faster with that right hand. And so it just never gets the rotation that it needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of got lost there, got left behind.
Yeah, it does. And that's one of those things that, especially with two swords, in the fight, trying to get to the next shot faster. That's typically where we run into this kind of problem. You end up shortcutting your recovery because you see a target and then you try to get to it faster. And so you try to take a shorter path to it, not realizing that taking the longer path and completing the recovery is going to give you better power. And it's also going to give you better delivery all the way around. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So Helga, is that what you were saying in that?
Yep.
So, all righty. Do you want to look at the next one here? Or do you want to get the final three for her?
Well, let's do final three, because I think that we've picked out a couple things, and also that'll give us enough time to not try to rush through the second one.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're up there. Go ahead, Helga.
So I'm going to say final three is probing range at the edge of measure, like figuring out the danger in your brain, and then starting to use lateral motion at the edge. That way you can actually use some of your depth perception issues to your advantage. Create a threat. Don't start the fight so close in. This is one of those things that I used to do. You can ask Sean and Thorfinn. They harshed on me about this for years, is that I would wade into the fight and be like, you have hit this. I now know where you are. Great, now we can fight. And have developed that like outside linear lateral motion. So been working horses too much recently. And into the fight and basically circling into that fight. So I'm always keeping my opponent on their heels and moving them back. And then that other one is, I really think you need to start fighting right-handed more. Like, I love the strength of your left hand, but it has created a weakness in your right hand. Like keep up the strength in the left hand, but you really need to focus on those leg shots. Don't use your area as an excuse. Nuke them in the leg. Make them really afraid to get hit in the leg by you. Like, it's a great advantage because it's going to give you a lot more fakes and feints. And even if they count it as a death or you just reset, nobody wants to get hit in the leg. No one. It sucks. And use that. And so that would be my three things is, so it's a lot of starting to play with your mental game and how you're approaching the fight and the tools that you're using. But strengthen that right hand and punish your opponents with it.
And before we get to Thorfinn on this final three, let me just explain that a little bit. When we're talking about the final three, we have a tendency to feed these fighters like they're drinking from a fire hose. Just a ton of information that's coming at you. And so when we get to the final three, we're just talking about there's only so much information that you can retain. And we're trying to give you the top three things that we think that you can work on. Everything else is kind of context around those things. So for the people that are watching, when we talk about those final three, typically when we're working with people, we're going to give you three things that you can work on because your brain really can't handle much more than that. So Thorfinn, let's go ahead to your final three for Gwen.
Okay, so number one, I would say we need to establish the right hand, which is your right hand competence, to be a threat. It has to be a viable threat, so that way, at least if you're going to use it as a fake, as you transition through areas, they believe that it's an authentic issue, right? If it's not, then it's basically not even worth having, right? So your left side is so strong and so good. I honestly originally thought you were left-handed, right? So now you know you can throw with the left side, right? So if you could establish a strong right side, you can then set up a shot, come in, and trust me, the left-handed fighter has the leg shot is like their bread and butter, right? That's how they pay the rent. And so you come in, you just cut those guys off, hard block, because you've already achieved that distance, right? And then you can control range and tempo. The other thing is that I think that maybe you need to look at a different type of power generation. I call it small circle power generation, and it's using fulcrums in your body to create the power for you. And this works with to create vast power for people of all sizes. Okay, so your right hand can then become an absolute killing threat. Other than that, I mean, honestly, your fight looks really good. I love this. The beginning stance is so strong, and your defense is really good. Okay, so you have a lot to work with. You just got a couple things we can tweak, and then eventually, with taking that practice home with you, you're going to be a great killer. Thanks.
Yep. So typically when you hear the same stuff from all three of us, then that's usually a good place for you to start working there. So let's talk about that right hand a little bit. You need to develop that right hand so that it is a threat. I mean, you're going to have to improve the mechanics on that a little bit. You're not quite getting the rotation that I think you need to be able to deliver good mechanics on that. So you're gonna have to work with that a little bit. Likewise, I really like your stance to begin with. Like I said, I kind of see you rocking back on your heels a little bit, but for the most part, I like where your stance is. It looks like it's a power stance, like you have power loaded in your stance. So there's a lot of good there. So develop your right hand a little bit more, make that a threat. Because if you can make that enough of a threat, then the left hand that is already developed, you've got some really good mechanics in that left hand. And if you can make that right hand a threat, it's just going to make those left-handed shots that much easier for you to get to, right? So develop that. Establish range. Again, right now you're kind of pre-programming your fight a little bit. So establish range. If you think you're ready to fight, just go ahead and take an extra step into range, and then start into your fight. And then the last thing is going to be recovery, making sure that every shot you throw is loaded. And, when you complete the one, you should be totally chambered with the other one, and being able to throw either one at any time by completing that recovery. So develop the right hand, establish range, recovery. Thorfinn is muted.
I can't find my mouse. Okay.
As always.
So one of the things about this what we're talking about is you can literally step through your shots to build that power. So as you come in, you can power load as you come in, completely defend it. Watch maybe some. I think we have some videos on the Coach's Corner library by Duke Sven, Two Sword Duke Sven, as well as some of the Lomachenko footwork to slide in. Okay, so it's going to have that power coming in with you. We have it on there. I think that's a great resource for you.
And Sven is also watching in the comments here, so maybe he can reach out to you.
Perfect.
Like legit, if you can get training with that dude, go train with that dude flat out. He's one, he's a riot. Two, he's really good at what he does.
Yep, no doubt. Cool. So Gwen, do you have any questions for us? Is there anything that we've said that doesn't make any sense? Anything you'd like a little extra explanation on?
I don't think so. It made a lot of sense. I think that I did a lot of focus on the left, which means I kind of lost my right in there. I had dislocated my shoulder fighting in like 2017. That was my right shoulder. So I think I've been a little lazy with it as time has progressed, since my left was doing a lot of the hard work. But yeah, it'd be nice to switch the range finding to make it more effective in multiple ways. So I'm really happy with that advice.
Cool. Righty on. All right. Well, I guess we've come to the point of the show there where we get to ask Erland whether or not we've scared him off with all of our criticizing and our rambling ons there. So, Erland, you ready to get on to yours?
Yeah, let's go.
Haven't scared you off too much?
No, not yet.
I like how he's like clicking into the roller coaster. He's like, I got this.
That's right. Keep your arms and legs in the car at all times. All right. Let me see if I can see. Tully, how recent are these videos that you sent? I know you have the one from Bronial birthday, but generally they're all from this year.
2-3 weeks. Yeah,
oh, nice.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks.
Even better. And it looks like most of them are at fighter practice, and then you've got one that is at a Bronial birthday tourney. Is that the finals with Wolfgar?
No, not the finals.
It was just a fight in there, right? That was a pretty good one. We'll take a look at that. So give me just a second here. We'll get things, try to get things loaded up here a little bit. Some buffer in. Let's see what we can do. All right, y'all seeing that okay?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you're going to hit play, and then we're going to see how much of it a shit show it is.
Yeah. How bad is it?
That's fine.
Right now, cool. I'm going to mute that, though. All right, and is that Duke Neal you're fighting right there?
Yep.
Okay. Did he hit that one?
Yeah, I think you wrapped me.
Yeah.
Now the video went terrible.
Right.
And watch on the live stream there. It's it's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. Is it really that bad?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's pretty
Still?
bad, yeah.
Yeah, it's jumping like every 3 to 4 frames.
All right, let's try another one. Is that any better?
Same as these.
Yep,
Still a mess.
still a mess.
Do we find they flow better if we do it at a slower speed?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, let me get back to the beginning of this one. We'll go.
Half speed or something. Because right now it's like every.
Yeah, let's go quarter speed.
second.
So this is quarter speed.
Way better.
Way
All right.
better. Yeah, this is what we want to do.
All righty then.
Okay.
I've watched too many cartoons in my life. When it's muted, my brain just makes the different like kapow, bang, whack.
And I do that at full speed.
Yeah.
That might be something we have to look at for future episodes. Is just doing it in slow motion.
Also, what might help is if you just download them straight to your computer and you play directly off your hard drive.
Yeah, I might be able to do that. We'll figure this out eventually, right?
What? I mean, it's only been like, what, 10 episodes of this so far?
Been a year, right?
Yeah. That is coming in so flat.
I'll back that up.
Yeah, that's coming in badly flat, just so you know.
You're talking about this offside body?
This offside body is coming in really flat. Look at this basketball position.
It's thumbed down like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too.
So Erlen, I happen to know that your papa knows how to throw that right. So you might want to have him go over that with you.
Also, this happens to do with how you're facing your opponents at this point in time. I'm not even worried about your stick mechanics at this point, because I think that the failure in your stick mechanics is directly seen in your feet and how you're addressing the fight. And so if we can address your fight, it might actually fix the stick mechanic, which I think that it'll be a very interesting conversation to have, and then to see you fighting in a couple of weeks. And if you make the adjustment, if that all of a sudden is on blade.
Sweet.
So since we're into that, you want to jump into that there, Helga?
Yeah, we can totally jump into this. You are not facing the threat. This is my favorite thing to ramble on, so please buckle in as Sean just laughs at me for even saying that.
Well, because that is her pet peeve.
This is my pet peeve right here. Bad footwork and facing the threat.
We've all got one.
Yeah, like facing the threat, TM. Like, okay, there we go. Your opponent is never going to kill you. Their sword, elbow, and wrist and sword are. And so when you face your opponent, you are giving them a free line in the fight. You must address the threat. Like, so every time you get into setting up for the fight and they throw, you then must make a motion to address the fastest, easiest line. This is the reason why you get a lot of flat snaps thrown at you. It's not just your height. It's the fact that that is the quickest line they have. And the brain is going to take the easiest route. And so what I want to see, and you can actually see you're directly right here, you're facing him. You're not actually facing what he's going to throw at all. And so what is happening, especially when you're legged, is you are completely square to your opponent. So everything you're having to do, you're having to reach your body around, you're having to try to throw yourself around to, one, see over your shield and create the line of sight, because you don't trust where your stick is going yet. And this is just a practice thing. And two, to actually understand what they're throwing at you. And so part of the reason why your stick is not rotating over in this process is you actually need to be shifted by like 15 degrees so the stick can continue to rotate on edge. This is a very common error, which is the reason why a lot of offsides are flat AF. And so does any of that make sense? Yes.
Quick question on that. Erlen, when you're throwing that inverted slot, that off body, are you throwing that with a thumb lead, or are you throwing that with the front of the blade?
I don't use thumb consciously.
His mechanics don't say thumb because he's not lifting his elbow to do it.
Right, you're driving that with the forward knuckles, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the front blade, right?
Yep.
That's how I throw it too. But it kind of looks like you're not sure which of those you're using, because when it's coming in flat like this, it's like you're trying to get the thumb side around. I don't really like throwing with the thumb lead with that. Just like the mechanics just don't work for me on that. But it looks like you're having a hard time making a decision as to whether it's going to be a thumb lead or a front blade. So you're going to want to.
It looks like it's coming in like one of these, where it comes in like that. Like
so
forward.
This speaks to his hips being flat in the fight. This is actually a really big characteristic of offsides coming in flat, is that his hips are square to his opponent. So they can't move, and it's exacerbated by the fact that he's legged. He has no free hip movement right now. He was parked on his hips for that. And so unless you're lifting and basically pushing your hips back, choosing a side to push your hip back, what's going to end up happening is everything on that offside is going to come in flat because you have no rotational motion through your body. So your hand is making up for it and trying not to jack your elbow.
Yeah. So something else on that. Notice here, I don't know if you can see my cursor here. So Tully, you fight on the tops of your feet, right?
Yep.
you may consider curling your toes underneath you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
So if you curl your toes under, you basically you're creating a better power base to shoot from. Because with where you are right now, you can't push off on your toes to be able to drive your hip, right? Everything you're doing when you have your feet flat on the ground like you are right there, there's nowhere for your hips to rotate from.
That's
you're nailed
exactly that.
You can't.
So if your toes are curled underneath, you can actually use your body coil to create that power.
Well,
if you do it the other way, you're kind of nailed.
Yeah, I mean, all the good shots when you're standing up, all your good shots start at the toes, right? And so by having your toes curled under, you have something to push off on, which you don't have right now. So there's nowhere for you to drive your hips. And so everything that you're going to be throwing here is going to be off balance and totally with your arm, because you can't engage your hips. And if you can't engage your hips, you're not really engaging your core. And so that's, and also with you being flat like that, you have a greater tendency to be pushed one side or the other. And so so when you have your toes curled under, you get to create a tripod underneath yourself. And it just gives you a better shooting platform. And so with this, like, you're spending so much time keeping yourself upright that you can't drive your mechanics. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's going to be, it could be a new thing for you. It's going to be awkward to begin with, but that's something you're definitely want to think about that. That's, I think, is going to change a lot of this.
So one of the things that I want to do real quick is, Tully, we just threw a ton at you, like a metric ton at you, because one, I got on my geek. So sorry, I had to ride that ride into the ground. Do you have any questions about what the three of us just went over? Because this is actually a pretty highlightable problem in the fight, and I want to give you space to ask us questions.
I took a few dot points. I think I've got it covered. If I can't figure it out, I'll just send you a Facebook message maybe down the
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Thorfinn, did you have something else on that? I thought you put your hand up there too.
What I wanted to say is, when you're throwing that off body, a lot of it has to do with how you can orientate your fist, your hand, right? So if you're doing anything like this, it's going to come in flat. If it's coming like this, flat. If your hand is forward, the blade has to go. It follows the hand. Okay, right. So it's really easy to see that happen. So common mistake.
Wow. All right. Do we want to look at? We'll keep looking at this next one.
Also, I'm going to totally say this looks like me fighting like 4 years ago. Like, there's a bunch of the same stuff here that I'm just like, oh, I can go on for hours.
Look, this me. So I'm gonna go on this one with you and Wolfgar at Veronica birthday.
For context, Wolfgar's my knight, and that is not his usual shield.
Okay. Looks like a winkle-shaped buckler.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Are we running this at slow speed?
Yeah, we're still, yeah.
Okay.
We're at about quarter speed on this.
It might need to load a little bit to restart, so we might be able to just, BS.
Now it's starting to flow.
Okay, there it goes.
Right. Good footwork there.
All right, so I'm going to jump in with something that I've been seeing here too. A lot of your attack is singular shots, and I don't mean it's not like you're gunfighting. It's not like you think you're going to beat somebody with a one shot, but this one in particular, you come out and it's just a lot of commitment to one thing, and then again, with the recovery thing, when you're putting that much effort into hitting the one thing, it doesn't give you a natural recovery because you're so much into getting that one thing delivered that it's complicating your recovery. And it really seems like I'm going to hit this one, and then you have to completely reset. And so it's just cutting down on the flow for being able to come from one blow to any other blow. And it's I think it's partially too, you throw the one, and then you have to reset and then find one, and then reset and then find one. One of the things about recovery in general is, so there's two parts to recovery. There's the physical recovery, which gets your hand back in a position to throw good mechanics, and the other side is target recognition. So while your stick is getting back to your shoulder, you should be finding the next target. And right now, there is no next target for you, and there's no possibility of the next target. So I'm not suggesting practicing combos, because I'm not a big fan of combos in general, because you got a 5-shot combo, and then shot number 5 depends on shots 1 through 4 executing exactly as you had planned, right? And that never happens. But finding the flow in the fight, being able to come off of one and go to another. I think one of the best exercises that we have for this in the SCA is the 1 through 6 drill for pel work. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
But the whole point of the 1 through 6 drill, where you have 6 different targets, basically head, body, leg on both sides of the body. The whole point of that drill is how to get from any blow to any other blow, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to go from a flat snap to an offside leg, and from an offside leg to a leg wrap, right? So that's a really good one for finding that kind of flow. But right now you're putting so much into every shot that you have that basically when you finish a shot, you basically get a dead hand, right? Because there's so much into it, like you're so committed to everything. And you have to commit, you have to be delivering good mechanics, but there's so much behind it that you just kind of go dead after that, and you have to completely reset. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Is anybody else seeing that?
Yeah, I think there's a slightly different reason for it, but I'm seeing the same thing you are.
Go ahead.
He is overcommitting and rocking in and out of the fight with his feet, which is not allowing him to set up and create recovery. TM Sean. A good recovery path, because he has to recover his body first. And this is kind of consistent with one of the things that we were talking before the show, that I'm like, hey, there's a footwork thing going on. And because he fights basically duck-footed, he is not actually, and not facing the threat, he's not delivering power to any specific point on the person. And so when he recovers, there's no specific place for his stick to go back to. So he has to recover his body back to a place where his stick can come home again, because there isn't that intermediary spot where his body's comfortable in any transition process. And so I'm going to agree with you saying that I think the 1 through 6 drill is actually the correct answer here, but I also think the 1 through 6 drill needs to go with stepping and facing the threat. Your pel is not the threat. Your pel is the thing you're trying to kill. And continuing to grind on that, because I think there's also a mental component to this, but we'll probably go over that in the last 3, because I'm kind of seeing a consistent thing that I want to talk about eventually. But I'm going to agree, but I think it's a slightly different take on why it's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could see that you could easily have more of a kind of a ball to the feet, horse stance type starting stance, which is going to allow you to move where you need to go. As we just watched you go through that, you were kind of heel forward, right? Which anytime your heel hits the ground, you're nailing the ground, right? You cannot move that foot again. If your balls of your feet, you can then transition or rock off of that foot. So there's lots of options. You can go like this versus the only thing you can do is forward again. Okay. So as we watch here, your ass is actually back over your heels the whole way that you came into that fight. Now you're settling onto your left foot, nailed to the ground. That foot cannot move at that point. You have to move your right foot. Okay. So if you were balls of your feet, you could have transition in any direction. And the thing is, the fight is going to change organically around you. You cannot have it be only one directional, right? You need to be able to roll out to either direction. You do that by being on the balls of your feet the whole time, right? So maybe more horse stance, more center stance, right? I think that's a right here. See your back heel locked down, right? That was your best transition right there.
Let me back that up a little bit. Oops, sorry.
So you go here, the foot's locked down, right? This one locks down automatically. And then from here, you can only really come back. That's your only option.
Yep, exactly.
And so by being on the balls of your feet allows you to transition between any direction, right? And so when you're doing this power work, we're talking about that 1 to 6 power, right? Focus on moving through every stance. So when you then go from 1 to 6 or whatever, you can also change direction around, allowing you to have more options and angles, right? 3D target, so let's think 3D, okay? But I think that being balls of your feet has to be something that you have to do, and if you want to have this kind of dynamic forward. That's all I'm saying.
And Erlen, I have on my YouTube channel, I have a demonstration of the 1 through 6 drill.
Cool.
So I can send you a link to that if you'd like.
Yeah, no, that'd be good.
Right on. Yeah, I was watching this one earlier, and you actually have a pretty good finish to this, honestly.
Yeah, this class was fun.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I do like is you are, like, again, you're pursuing the fight, like we were talking with Gwen earlier, like you're going after it, right? And you're not just, throwing a bunch of stuff out there. It's not more aggressive necessarily, not just throwing stuff out there, but there is some, we're seeing some more of this here where you came in and you throw one shot and then you've got to completely recover because you don't have anywhere to go from there. And so there's a lot of that going on, but for the most part, you are pursuing the fight. You're going after it. You're not letting your opponent simply just do whatever they want to you. You're trying. You're going after it. You're not backing down from any of this. So. And we had a tip from His Excellency Graf Ulrich from Meridiers about the optimizing for video clip. So we're hoping that might be improved a little bit. But thanks Ulrich for giving us the tip there.
Good heads up, huh?
It's okay.
Well, and I have to say here, Erlen, this is a series of shots that I was kind of impressed with, just in that it was a constant series of blows. And this is what I talk about when I say that I don't like combinations, right? This is a whole series of blows this was really good, actually. This is it's a constant stream of shots that is not a combination. That is, each shot you throw is dependent on the shot and what happened with the shot right before it. You had some really good natural transitions here. A lot of the stuff that we've been talking about that like you need to be doing. I think we get to see that a little bit here as you're standing up. So you got the one there, got a block there, got a wrap, got a flat snap, got an offside, got another wrap, and it's just it's steady. It's a steady flow of shots. It's not just you trying to get as many shots off as you can. You're not giving your opponent, the time to just stand there and think about what they're going to do to you, right? There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. And then you finish up with a nice little wrap to the body.
Thank you.
All right. Thorfinn and Helga, you guys got anything else?
Are we going to go into his 3 or?
I think so. Yeah, we're about 10 after. We got about 20 minutes, but let's see if you guys. I just want to see. Did you want to watch another one or?
Man, I'm going to watch fight videos when this is done anyway, so might as well watch one now.
Right on. Let's we'll go back to some more practice here. We got one more up in here. Might take a second to do some buffering.
Also, again, where's this cool building? You guys, your banners are permanently here?
Yeah, a second. I'm trying to find.
Yeah, we're permanently there. We're pretty lucky with that one.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What? The government pay for it?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh, there he is. Is that Wolfgar?
Yeah, that's Wolfgar.
All right.
Yeah, I've seen this video before.
See you get some fighting with your pappy. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not seeing any fights in here with you and Oz. I was hoping to see some of that.
There's no good enough quality ones.
Oh, you mean it's just all video of you just beating his ass?
Oh, in my dreams.
You'll get there.
Can you pause it right here, Sean?
Sure. Back it up.
No. Like literally right there. Just need everybody to look at his feet real quick.
Oh, they're turned out.
This is the base thing that I'm going to get a little hairy about. Your feet do not know where you want to go.
Right.
Kneel down.
Also, your back knee is locked anytime you think you are out of range. You are not out of range here. You guys are comfortably at the edge of measure here. And so this is giving you no way to get out besides to fall over your own back foot. So one of the things that I want to see you start doing is starting to face your toes. They're still keeping your feet shoulder width apart towards the target where you want your blow to end. The reason why for this is it makes your hips actually mechanically free enough to do this. Your hip right now is not actually free to move, which is the reason why we're starting to see you force your shots through your body mechanically. It's also the reason why we're watching your back foot lift completely off the ground when you're actually ending a blow. It's not because you're getting ready to take the next step. It's literally because you're dragging your body through your mechanics. And so this is the biggest flaw in your fight right now. This is actually the thing that I want you to get obsessive about.
I had a question on that. Erlen, do you have any other prior martial arts background?
No, I did rapier for a little bit.
It shows.
There you go. That's where that's coming from. That is a lunge stance right there. That's Taekwondo. They refer to it as a back stance. That's a fencer's lunge stance right there. So that's where that's coming from.
Yeah, you need to be more centered over yourself so you can do a striker type stance. So you can transition either way at the.
So in the next couple times you get to go to do practice, if you think about taking and being on the balls of your feet and pointing your toes roughly to where you want the blow to land, and you can actually see you threw the shot there, and both your toes pointed where you wanted that thrust to land. You were in the air, but it happened. We want you to get into a stance where you're already naturally allowing your body that free motion.
That set wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just one of those things that this is going to stop you from that stumble backwards that we just saw in there because you're trying to get your feet back underneath you. If we keep your feet under you and pointing to where you want to go, it's going to be the next improvement in your fight. Also, here's going to be the fun thing is if you're moving to one side, the foot that's on that side is what moves. It doesn't matter if that foot is forward or back. Never cross your feet. Don't get your heels in line with each other. And so, again, you can break rules the higher you get in the sport and blah, 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 because rules are all, dependent on skill level. But right now, what you need to do is actually focus on not getting your feet in the, where your heels are in the same line while you're looking to throw a blow. And we want to get your toes actually pointed towards your target. And this is going to put you on the balls of your feet because you can't twist to the next response if you're on your heels. You have to be on the balls of your feet. So this is a great training method of getting you on the balls of your feet and keeping this forward motion because you have a nice aggression in your fight. You're not actually overly aggressive. You're not just jumping on your opponent and throwing away. You're keeping a pretty good pace and a pretty good range and a pretty good aggression, and not allowing yourself to be too manipulated. If we can get your feet underneath you, you're going to start smoking people because your body's going to be free to make the motion to get the killing blow.
But one of the things that she's kind of talking about is something that I've been working with a bit recently is coming to the understanding that a lot of times we have a tendency to decide what we're going to do and then try to fabricate footwork to support that decision. And that kind of looks like what's going on here is like, oh, I'm going to throw this shot, and like you're dragging your feet along with you, as opposed to using your feet to establish position, getting yourself in a good place to be able to deliver shots. Your footwork is coming as a secondary thing, and if your footwork is following the fight rather than having your footwork leading and kind of dictating where the fight is going to happen and what's available to you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's kind of haphazard. And like I said, your footwork is it's a secondary concern, and it needs to be your primary concern.
Mm.
All right. Well, we got about 15 minutes here, so let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and stop the share there. So, all right. So first off, Tully, any questions about anything we've talked about so far?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Nothing.
All right, Thorfinn, you want to start with your final three for Erlen?
Yeah. Okay. So number one, I think that your shield is kind of flying all over the place, and this is a linear style. If I can judge from my experience, I fight with a kite shield. This is very similar to a kite shield. You have corners, right? Anytime you take that center line off, you're now exposing your legs or head, right? So it has to be kind of forward at your opponent. And the cool thing about this square or rectangle, excuse me, is that what you're doing is that the further it gets to your body, it works like a cone defense, right? So the further from you, the bigger the defense. So you can't just have it be like, if you do this, like this, you're trying to cut off angles, right? What's happening is you're exposing spots for your opponent to attack, and you're now having to chase after your blocks. Instead of having a standardized, like, I put this forward, I'm covering all my shit, right? So that, I think, is from my interpretation of that style shield. And close, but I'm fairly sure that's the case. And I do watch your shield. It does a lot of movement. The less movement it does, the better, right? You should follow your shield with your attack and your defense at the same time. So it should be always right there, right? Okay. Now the other one was, let's see, I wrote notes. Give me a second. Okay, so you need, again, I said earlier that you need to be over your feet, not behind your feet or following your feet, right? So your feet, if you could settle into kind of like a half horse stance, kind of you want to be able to like bounce around. So a drill you could do is like be able to do step back, and or follow your opponent wherever you need to go. Don't let that be the thing. And also the idea that Sean talked about earlier about combos and why we don't like them is a combo implies a plan, right? And as soon as you think that you have a plan, I do 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever, then if your opponent doesn't do that thing, now you're in the weeds. Right? We don't need you in the weeds. What you need to do is focus on having the ability to, from any position you're in, throw any blow, right? And then what that allows you to do is have your opponent have an organic, like kind of a communication with you about how they want you to beat them, right? Let them tell you, but you have to focus, and I'm talking to both fighters here, focus on the idea that you are presenting your martial art and in this moment, and then you are then capitalizing on their mistakes. Okay. So if you go in with a plan, like, he always throws that offside leg, If they don't throw that offside leg, now you're in the weeds. Instead, just go into the fight.
Yep.
Present your offense and your defense and extrapolate out from there what they're going to do, right? When they attack you, then we can do this. Okay, if they move like this, we can do this. If you're over the balls of your feet, you can move better. If you have your defense squared away, you can defend better. So that being said, work on your fundamentals. Fundamentals are going to save you. All right, guys, thanks for everything.
Right on, Helga.
So mine's going to be simple, is face the threat. If you want to talk about more about that afterwards, I think this is going to actually start bringing your footwork in line. Second one is going to be footwork. Really, that's another 3 things. You're going to get harshed on by all of us about that because I think it's the biggest weakness in your fight right now. And I think that you would gain a lot by taking a couple months and literally not caring about anything else in your fight besides your footwork. And you're going to see a lot of these issues fall away. I think you're going to see your shield get quieter. I think that you're going to see your shot selection continue to stay deep, but become more effective. And I think that you're going to see lateral motion just naturally develop into your fight because you already have the aggression that it takes and the vision. The third one is I'm going to say, this is actually a positive one. Keep looking at the fight the way you are. There is a cool consistency in your videos that I really, really enjoy. You have a good eye for the fight that's in front of you. And so in all the things is don't set down that tool, but use it as a way to develop these other skills that we're trying to give you. Because it is a really, really cool thing to see at your level that you can literally watch you look at something and then decide to throw the shot. And you are quick enough that you are calculating which shot you need to throw. This is the reason why you actually have a pretty big shot selection in your fight, is because you have the vision of the fight. And so I'm going to say, don't set down that tool, but don't let that dictate your fight. Stop trying to win practice. Use that to better the other things that we're telling you to do. Cool. I want that thing. Great. Where do my feet need to go? Am I facing the threat? Does this shut down their line? Can they not throw that flat snap anymore? Okay. Use that tool a lot because it's gonna advance you incredibly quickly. So there's my 3.
Right on.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Helga on that last one. You have a great vision for the fight. You are seeing things. That last set of shots that we're looking at, in when you're fighting Wolfgar at Perennial Champion, it's a really great example of, every one of the shots that you threw was based on good decision making process, right? That's something I focus on a lot. Hand speed is cute and all, but decision making speed is even better. The rate at which we make decisions, and you are seeing the fight really well there. But to get to the other points that we've made, your shooting platform, the foundation that you have underneath you, is not commensurate to the vision that you have in the fight. So some of these things, when you're trying to get a shot off, you don't have the base, the foundation underneath you to execute some of the mechanics that you can see. Like you can see these things, but you can't get to them, right? So yeah, keep working on the vision of the fight. And that is one of those things that is really hard for people to get, is to allow the vision to just kind of happen, and to let the fight happen in that regard, where you're allowing yourself to see these things instead of like trying to make things happen. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So keep that up, keep the vision up. Footwork, as has been mentioned. The thing that I will say about it is you need to develop your footwork as, again, that needs to become your primary. Your fight needs to start with the footwork, not be a secondary consideration. And your footwork needs to be deliberate, and you have to be deliberately manipulating range so that you know what range you are in and you know where your power base is. Because if you're not deliberately manipulating range, then you end up in a range without knowing what range you're in and not knowing how you got there. So if you're not deliberately manipulating that, it ends up being kind of haphazard, and that's where you're at right now. And again, your feet are following the fight, and your feet need to be driving that. Helga?
So this is actually, sorry, Sean, I'm just going to piggyback on this. This is a great opportunity for training with wiffle ball bats, boffer swords, something else like that, to where you can go make this mistake 1,000 times and go work and play. Put yourself into the play mindset so you can set yourself up for success. Because, you know, we hit each other with sticks for fun, which leave bruises, which means we try to survive a fight until we get good enough to start just overtaking the fight and winning fights on purpose. This is a great time. You're at a really sweet spot to go use everything you're seeing with something that is lower cost to you physically so you can play. So like picking up a set of wiffle ball bats is probably going to actually change the way you practice. Please put your helmet still on. You can take each other's eye out, like do that.
Like a core sample.
Yeah, do not core sample yourself, please. Put your helmet on. But do this, maintain your mechanics, but go have fun and like dick off with your friends about it. You're going to learn much faster than actually in your rig.
Yeah. So yeah,
I'm gonna piggyback on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Thorfinn.
So this is a chance for us guys as we go forward to change how practices work. Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be put armor on, beat each other up, right? It can be take a wiffle ball bat, put your helmet on, spend 20 minutes of that working on your footwork or whatever in a safe manner, right? This is like this coming out of COVID, guys. We get to recreate how we see practices. Take advantage.
Funny you should mention that. That's Friday's episode.
Well, look at me paying attention. But seriously, guys, this is something this is the opportunity we have. Let's recreate the dynamic of how our practices work to be more about training, not just beating each other with sticks, right? We can do both, but you like name me a martial art where you don't do the training first and then the free play at the end, right? Zero, this all of them. So let's not be the only one. Okay. So do take advantage of these opportunities to do things that will make it for you to be safe to learn. And if those other guys want to go, hit each other's fucking sticks, let them go hit each other with fucking sticks. You can take 20 minutes with your friends and learn. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. So yeah, to kind of wrap up my three there, keep the vision, deliberately manipulating range, and which is also, there's that part about you being on your knees, manipulating range on your knees as well, right? But you have to get your toes curled underneath you to give yourself a better power base to shoot from. And then the flow of your shots, that 1 through 6 drill, going from any one blow to any other blow. So that's kind of 4, but it's kind of 3 as well. So right on. I'm gonna switch over.
I mean, it's our very typical fire hose of, oh, we found something we can all geek on.
So yes, with that, like Helga said, the fire hose thing. So Erlen, do you have is there anything you don't understand? Is there anything that you need a little more explanation on?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Right on. So I think it was great stuff. Good episode. Thank you again, both of you, for agreeing to let us kind of pick these apart. Hopefully we've given you some tools that you can get back to practice on and put these things into place a little bit to try to make you better fighters. And as always, you're more than welcome to contact any of us for more input on that, and maybe check back to see how you've been making improvements on some of the stuff that we're doing. So,
well, you guys, thank you very much.
Yeah, great to have you guys. As Thorfinn alluded to, without even knowing it, this Friday on the Coach's Corner, our episode is on practice, sparring versus training. It's exactly what Thorfinn was talking about. One of the phrases that I use a lot is, watching people try to be the king of practice. And there's a lot of work that you can get done in just training that you can't. You can get more work done in 1 hour of unarmored training than you can in 3 hours of fully fighting. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. We often get the question of, how do I change my practice from a sparring oriented practice to a training oriented practice? And we're going to be talking about some strategies for how to do that, how to get yourself more effective practices. So Erlen, you probably want to tune in for that one, because that'll be talking about exactly what Thorfinn was just talking about there. So let's see. All right, Thorfinn, Helga, either you got final thoughts?
I had to find the unmute button. I just want to say thank you guys very much. This is incredibly enjoyable. Both of you guys are two different fights to look at, and so that was really nice to be able to compare and contrast across that board. Thank you for giving us time. As to everybody that tuned in, thank you very much. The comments are always amusing to watch as they go by, and so thank you very much. You give us a reason for doing this every month.
Thorfinn?
I really can't say enough about watching fight videos. Like if your local practice, if you want to put up a camera and then have people over to your house to watch the fighting afterwards, where everyone can analyze what they're doing, it's an enormous gift, right? So you can do this with your friends. Also, YouTube has a million fucking fight videos. Go and watch them. I spend probably an hour a night actually watching fight videos, and you can learn a lot from watching everyone. So do take advantage of the resource. And if you have any questions, again, we're super happy to answer. Please reach out. And thank you both very much for putting yourselves out there. It's a big ask. And so we're happy to have you. Thank you guys.
Wow. And as always, thanks to everybody for tuning in and the comments in the live stream there. We always really appreciate it. Gives us some feedback and some stuff to work on. Thanks everybody for joining us and have a good night. And we will see you Friday night for another episode of the Coach's Corner. Everybody have a good night.